Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So your key to the week this week is the Temperance card, right? So this week, it's not necessarily just about balancing things out. I actually get the feeling that for you this week, it's kind of like there's a change in perspective. So this week you might actually be able to see something from somebody else's point of view, and it might make things a lot easier in an interpersonal relationship. So if there's been any sort of drama, whether it's with family or friends, with a partner, maybe a work colleague or whatever, it's like this week you can see something from the other person's perspective. And when you do, I think it's going to make things a lot easier. That being said, right at the beginning of this week, we've already had your ruling planet Mars will now be direct in the sign of Gemini. So that energy that you have, the passion, the vigor, the drive that you're used to having, that kind of, it's kind of the way that I describe a Mars retrograde. It's like, in the winter when the plants pull their energy down to the roots so that they can stay, alive basically, and then they re-emerge in the spring. That's what's happening when a Mars retrograde happens for all of us in some way. But for you, you obviously feel this a lot more because you are Aries ruled, Mars ruled, right? So the fact that this week, as we get to the 16th, your ruling planet will have stationed and gone direct. So at this point, it actually is starting to move forward again. And I feel like the Temperance card is basically a message to say you're seeing something now in a much clearer light, and that different sense of perspective actually helps you kind of say, yeah, you know what, I can now see where it is that you're coming from. As if that wasn't enough, Mercury, the ruling planet of the sign that your ruling planet is in, goes direct on the 18th of January, right? So at this point, we've got a lot of energy that is now starting to, clarity is coming back into everything. So for your actions and options, you've got the Four of Swords. Take time to digest this week, because it looks like you are, right? So rather than bursting straight into action and yeah, you know what, I'm going for it, Mars is direct now, I'm going to jump straight in with both feet. It's like you're actually taking time to say, okay, now that I've had this change in perspective, or I can see something differently, let me sit on it for a while to see how I think and feel about it. Now, on a more practical level, and I really hope this isn't the case, but this can literally represent two things. One, attendance of a funeral, and two, it can be attendance to a hospital. Doesn't necessarily have to be for you, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be for anything awful. It could literally just be for tests, all right? For your communications and conversations, you've got the Five of Wands. So this with the Temperance card, be mindful of getting into any drama this week, right? And I'm sorry to say, but it does look like there is going to be some. The Five of Wands is not an easy card. It's a very social card, and in some contexts it can actually be a lot of fun. But here with the Temperance card, I think this change in perspective is going to see you kind of say, you know what, usually I would get involved in this, or I would air an opinion, but actually I'm going to step back because this has nothing to do with me. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, especially with the Temperance card, this week yours and your superiors, your lecturers, etc., maybe even the course material that you're studying, there might be something that you fundamentally disagree with this week. And I gotta be honest, because it's the Five of Wands, you may find that it's actually yours is the unpopular opinion, that everybody else seems to agree, but there's something that you just can't sort of gel or mesh with. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, be mindful of the office water cooler talk this week. It does look like some sort of dramatics or theatrics is kicking off at work this week. And it would be mindful, I would say this week, just step back and observe the players in the whole situation. Because you might end up seeing that, you know, like there's always that one person that just wants everybody to get along. And then sometimes you look a little deeper and actually that's the bitch that started all the shit. Just, excuse my language, I'm sorry, you're an Aries, you can deal with it. This might be something just to be, you know, consider. For those of you that are business owners, sorry, I have to laugh at myself sometimes, but those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, give yourself a minute this week to ask yourself, if I'm going to delegate, if I'm going to get help, if I'm going to ask other people to kind of be a part of what I'm doing, what do I require them to be and to have before then, right? So that's just a question to ask generally if you're in business and you're going to welcome someone in, but this week especially. Now, I will say to you as well, if you are a business owner, it looks like this week you're going to be having conversations with specialists who are either telling you you can't do what it is that you're wanting to do, or whatever it is that you're saying you need doesn't really exist, right? And so the only example that I can give you, whether you love or loathe him, I really don't care. That's not my thing. I'm just giving you an example, right? Elon Musk, before he created Tesla, he spoke to hundreds of different experts on different things, and he would reach out to them and, you know, different engineers. And I remember seeing this one interview with an engineer, and he was like, yeah, he, you know, reached out to me and asked me a whole bunch of questions. And I said to him, look, you know, what you're asking for can't be done, or it can be done, but it doesn't exist yet. So you would have to create this, this, and this in order to have this result. And so, you know, the guy said to him, like, so am I getting the job or da-da-da-da? And he was like, well, no, because you're telling me that it can't be done, right? But he took that information and he built what he needed to. So this week, if you're a business owner, there might be something that actually doesn't exist that you need to create in order to do what it is that you're hoping to have as an end result. Very long-winded, I know. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, this week there's going to be some ish that kicks off in the family. Whether you want to be a part of it or not, you may be asked to kind of step in, but you got the Four of Swords here, which suggests to me that you're kind of just stepping back to let it be what it's going to be. All right, for your love and relations, you've got the Page of Wands. So there is a time sequence in here. Pay attention to this week, because whatever it is that's happening, especially when it comes to relationships, partnerships of all kinds, whether, you know, you're single and looking to mingle or partnered, there is an echo of whatever or whoever was a big player in that realm for you around late November, early December of 2022. You're likely to be revisiting this now. All right, so there's something here, especially for those of you that are partnered and in long-term commitments. There's some message here that is now going to become clear to you. And I wonder if for some of you, this might actually be in your relationship. Maybe you have a heart-to-heart with your partner. Maybe you have a conversation that kind of solidifies for you, okay, you know what? Now I see where you were coming from, but I wasn't able to previously. And actually it helps improve things for you. It's like you get the message now. For those of you that are single and looking, this could be a very flirty time, a very social time, which is nice. And it may be as well that if you are connecting to someone this week, you might be able to connect on a spiritual level as well. Maybe you have similar beliefs about certain different things. Maybe you have similar practices around spirituality. So this could actually be a good week for people that are looking to meet someone. And then for your money and materials, you have the Knight of Pentacles, right? So this week, I urge you to set your future long-term plans around money, finances, and resources. It does suggest for some of you as well that maybe the drama that shows up this week might have a material element to it. In terms of making more money, there is increase for you this week, but it's going to be slow and steady. So think of like this week as just kind of the start of the good that's going to come financially. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, look out for your knees and your bones. And then when it comes to your home and environment, for some of you, this may be a week where you're having work done on the car. It may be for others that you start to really get serious about moving, changing home, changing location. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.